Good evening from New York. I'm Selwyn Collins, your host of CWS Journeys. Welcome to another edition. The beautiful lady next to me is Romane Kalicharran. This evening, I'm very happy to have this conversation with Romane. Did you claim Romane?
Yes. Romane.
Romane, okay, good. Major Claim Romane is the recipient of countless distinguished awards and is the youngest to ever receive the Wordsworth McAndrew Award for her contribution to Guyana's cultural life. In addition to her worldwide performances, workshops, demonstrations, and lectures, she continues to be a dance educator and creative Kathak at numerous arts organizations, universities, public and private schools, as well as schools for children with learning disabilities and emotional disturbances. Tell us 3 qualities about you that often come to mind when people ask you to describe yourself.
I would say the first thing is friendly.
Uh-huh.
I always love to make people comfortable, as I would like to be. The second would be strict. if it's my students or and that's not in a bad way, it's respectful. I would say respectful. And maybe the third one would be carefree.
Carefree.
Yeah, so strict and carefree. Yeah, I think once you know the rules, then you know how to.
Does that carefreeness help you in your creativity, in your dance? Would you say that?
Oh yeah, definitely, because I think creativity doesn't have an age. So therefore, if you have that childlike jovialness and that burst of energy, that really serves into the creative realm, especially using your imagination, because creativity has to do with imagination. You can imagine things that are not there and create them, materialize them in a space, through your body, painting, whatever it is that you're doing. So definitely that you have to have that carefreeness. So that's why it's very difficult at times to create art under certain stressful conditions, because you want to be carefree or maybe worry-free in certain areas. And as an adult, you have to have certain control, because you can't stop other people, but you can put things in their compartment where they belong. So you have one carefree section in order to create your masterpieces.
So you allow your inner child to be free.
Of course.
When would you say, as far as you can remember, you became aware of this creative side of you?
I think it's something that called upon me, because with the creativity comes a spiritual awakening. And so that's why children are very close to things that we cannot see, such as feeling energies and things like that. And so I think at a very young age, I realized that I liked to dance, or I liked musical things or artistic things. But when I became very much aware of shape and sound and body structure, that's when I really realized, I think maybe in elementary school, that I wanted to create my own expression. So maybe around the age 8, 9, when I really became serious.
You are a product of Guyanese and Puerto Rican parents.
Yes. Yes.
Where were you actually born and raised?
I was born here in New York, Jamaica, Queens.
Oh wow.
Yes. And I'm proud to say that, because things like this can really only happen here.
Yeah.
So my mom is from Puerto Rico, from Ponce, that's the south. And my dad is from Guyana, Essequibo, which is the countryside. And I've been to both places, and I've been to India, which is where my 4 parents are from. So yeah, but I was born here in Queens, so I'm a New Yorker. So
when you think of the 3 different cultures,
yes,
India, Guyana, and Puerto Rico, what are some similarities that stand out for you?
Well, first off, I don't really look at Guyana as a different culture from India, because it's a subculture via colonization. So, for instance, my dad is Guyanese, but he's 100% Indian.
Right.
Blood. Whereas those many in the Caribbean are of mixed heritage, like myself, due to mixing and things like that in the history. So But for all intents and purposes, at this point, there is a certain difference as far as the music that has developed and things that have happened through evolution over time. And I say evolution meaning artistic expression, language, food, so forth, fashion. And so I feel like when I deal with India and Puerto Rico, I can look at Kathak the way I did with the Kathak and Bomba, the dancing, the technique, the skirt, the respect, the way that we respect elders. But if I look at Guyana and Puerto Rico, there's even a different layer because they're both Caribbean in nature. So I say, well, the attitude of the people are very carefree, and it's different than India. You know, there's a different sentiment.
Yeah.
Perhaps if you go into the village areas in India, the attitude is a little different. But in Guyana, definitely, or in Caribbean in general, you can definitely spot a Caribbean person or the way that they carry themselves. And of course, with the food, there's certain things like platanos, plantains, similar. Certain things like the fritters that we make. I'm saying we on both ends.
Right,
they make
right.
it's very similar because of course the indigenous were in both countries.
Right.
And in some cases, the same indigenous tribes and the same African slaves were brought to both countries.
Yes.
So there's similar instruments, similar food. When you really dig really deep down into the history.
Well, let's take a walk back in time to see how this amazing gem that sits before me has been formed and shaped. So give us a glimpse of Romane at the age of 9, and then when you're done with that, at the age of 15.
At the age of 9, as an artist, I only looked at myself as a student of life and of philosophy, of meaning, and that never changed. That's still up to now. But at 9 years old, I questioned those things, and I was very inquisitive and, of course, very strict with whatever I was doing as far as training. So I was very much trying to learn dance in the technique that I was taught. And there wasn't that freeness yet to really take it and create my own thing because I didn't feel that I was ready and I wasn't worthy yet.
When did you actually start dancing?
I started dancing on and off from when I was 6.
Okay.
And from Gora Singh, he was the first Guyanese to go to India and learn Kathak dance and go back to Guyana and teach it there. And when he came to New York, that's when I started to learn from him. And then I, of course, went on to learning from my teacher from India when I was 8 years old. So my rigorous training really started when I was 8. So by the age 9, I was really taking it very seriously. Music as well. We did many other activities in the house besides dance. And fast forwarding to 15, I was teaching in Jamaica.
Teaching?
Yeah.
What did you teach?
Dance.
Wow.
Yeah, because it's a very small subset of Indians in Jamaica. So of course you get the permission from your teacher.
How did you end up there? Did you guys migrate there? To Jamaica?
No. I was asked to teach. I started traveling. Yeah.
You mentioned Gora Singh, and I grew up hearing his name and this amazing dancer.
Yes.
Well, you know, he's gone.
Yeah.
But what was that like for you? What was that experience like with him? Tell us a little bit about Gora Singh.
From what I remember, I was very young. I was the youngest in his class, and I was always in the front. He would just put me there. And I always thought because I was the shortest, so I was the smallest one. But then I realized he started to make me, do examples of movements and say, okay, Romane, you show, or whatever it is. And of course, children have a different limberness in their body, so they're able to show certain things. And the next step above me was adults, Of course, there were some teenagers in the class, but he was very kind. He was very loving. He had a sense of humor. But the strictness of the dance, he always kept that up. He had that bar up there. And equal to Kathak, he had chutney. He had our folk dances, and he was very proud of our Indo-Caribbean arts. And he was not afraid to dance at a party and show that we can still put the meaning back with the Kathak gestures back into the dance the way it used to be before it became popular dance music for parties.
You have also been trained by other great dancers and so on,
Yes.
and great teachers. But what particular attribute about Guru Singh that stands out for you?
I felt that he saw the beauty in everyone and saw the depth that they could go to from probably the first time that he saw them move. And
Is that good?
yeah, of course. I mean, fast forwarding to me now, I could see from someone walking if they're ready to, dance, or if they're ready to be involved in something, whether it be Kathak or something creative. You can see right away from people's body language.
When did you realize you were ready, or did someone say to you, Romane, it's time? How did that happen?
Well, it kind of grew out of a need. I think when there's a need in society for a teacher, or there's need in a society, then probably I would say the ancestors have chosen you to do certain things. Because for me, it was never about a job. If it was about that, I would have been rich by now. But it's something to do with carrying on a legacy, carrying on who we truly are, whatever that may be. And for me, it's representing all my cultures equally, whether it be a folk art or a classical art. It should be within its own realm and within its own highness. So for me, I felt that I didn't think that I was ready per se. I felt that I had to get permission from my teachers first. Like Satyanarayan Chaka is my teacher, and I graduated from his school. But even before I graduated, he said, go ahead, you help them, because you're the only one that can, to really teach in the Caribbean community.
What was that like, hearing him say that to you? What if you can remember, what were you present to when he said that to you?
At that point, when he said that to me, then I felt free to put my own spin towards my people, the knowledge he had gave to me, but put it in a way that is applicable wherever I go, because teaching in the Indo-Caribbean community is very different. Teaching, let's say I teach in Puerto Rico, or I teach in India, wherever I teach, I know how to differentiate my teaching, and that gave me the license to do so. Because a lot of times I feel people learn from teachers 1 or 2 classes, and they go off and teach, and they're an expert, and they don't have that humility to even ask. I'm forever my teacher's student. I'm forever a student in my life. That will never change. No matter how many degrees I have, that doesn't go with me.
When you think upon your humility, which is obvious, when you glance upon your humility, which of your parents are you thinking of that might have influenced this humble person we know as Romane?
I can't say one person. I have to say it's a mixture of more than just my teachers, because
no, I mean your parents.
Yes, yes. I'm gonna get to that. Definitely, my mom is very humble. She's very soft-spoken in many ways. She's a Puerto Rican, but many people say she's very much Indian in the way that she carries herself. She wears a sindoor on her head, which shows the sign of being married in Hinduism, and many Hindus don't wear that every day. But she's a vegetarian. She takes it upon herself to keep herself very very elegant, and that's just her natural way. My dad is also very, he's a notable person in society and also in community, but at the end of the day, he's very down to earth, and that's what I really like about him. But in addition to parents, we view, and I say we, Indian teaching or even Puerto Rican teaching, we view the teachers, the gurus, as parents. So my gurus of dance and music really showed me also how to emulate being a knowledgeable person, but also stay humble. Shruti Kinnarsin, who was in the show with me doing the sitar.
Yes.
One of them. It's more than just teaching a subject. You have to teach life skills.
Yes.
And how to keep your head from, expanding too much, because it's expand your knowledge, but don't expand your ego.
Yes.
That's the main point.
I was going to ask you what particular life skill, but I think I'll stick with that one because I really love that.
Thank you.
Not allow the ego to get control.
Yes.
If you were to eavesdrop your parents, telling a stranger about you, how do you think they would describe you? Let's start with mom. What would she say about you?
I don't know what she would say about me now. But I know that she has said to me, thank you for letting me be your mom and for letting me be born through her. And that she never knew what I would be, but she was grateful to have seen what I became, not knowing, but and I think it's the same thing that she would say, because she's not the type to say something different behind my back. So I think she would think the same thing. And it's evident when they cry at every performance, which is the same for the last 20 years. But obviously they still look at me as their child.
Yes.
You know, my dad is the same way.
He would say the same thing?
He would say the same thing. And, you know, he's very, in many ways, very emotional in seeing, because they also know what you have to go through, what I've had to go through in order to tread my path and to keep the level that I've kept. It's not the easiest thing, because there's many things and many strains that can try to pull people apart, especially with art, and especially being someone of mixed heritage. It's not the easiest road, but it was the one I was dealt, and I'm proud of it.
You're in a world, an environment that, while it extracts from you your creative juices and allows you to be free and to create as much as possible, it's also very demanding, because it can be challenging. You have all kinds of personalities and characters to deal with.
Yes.
So when you need to be strong, when you need to be fierce, who comes out? Mom or dad?
I can't say any
Or
one
is
of
it
them.
Romane?
It's me. I have to really be true to myself.
Yes.
Because at this point, I see, as you get older, you see what they have done, what's worked for them, and what hasn't.
Yes.
So there's no perfect person, and so I try to be as fair as I can with the people that I work with. And the person that comes out is the true me that wants to be as fair as I can to my soul, to who I believe I should be in the long run, and to not to compromise myself while being nice to someone else. And it is a balance that I have to take very carefully, because I never want to intentionally hurt anyone, but I also don't want to indulge in something so much that it hurts the integrity of the art form that I'm trying to portray. So dealing with, let's say, lights, production, sound, musicians, assistants, myself, my own personal life, everyone else's personal life. I'm not the type of person to just be boom, 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 that's it. Like, this is just a business and I don't want to know anything. If someone had a bad day, I need to kind of work through it. I won't get too deep into it, but I want to know, because that affects, in the creative world, it affects your job. So what comes out of me is being nurturing first, and then being strict as well to get the job done, because we do have to push through, and I'm there to push through together. And so it becomes more of a team.
What are most people surprised to learn about you and to get to know you?
It depends on who you're talking about. It depends on what
in general,
what society you're talking about.
What is one thing about you that might surprise people to learn?
It's so many different things. For instance, if I'm in Guyana,
yes,
they're surprised to hear me speak. Because, that one white gal, like they don't know what to make of me, right? If I'm in Puerto Rico, there's really nothing that they're too surprised about. If I say I'm half Indian, okay, it all depends on the attitude within that country, the context. Here in America, well, many things do go for whatever freedom, In India, same thing. You get the looks, because physicality, for better or worse, people judge first. Yes. So I think, in general, people are surprised as to how much I take as my responsibility to know about each one of my cultures. It's not just a hobby for me. It's not just my art form, but it's also something personal, a personal conviction of mine, and how many people have said, I feel like you're an old soul. I feel like you've been here before. You're not that age. I said, well, I've felt 85 since I was like, 8 years old. So
how did you start on this journey? This particular journey of teaching and dancing and singing and having such passion for sharing this knowledge with others. When and how did this journey begin?
It began when me and my brothers were very young.
Uh-huh.
My father especially wanted for us to have exposure to many different art forms.
Yeah.
And we had a very rigorous schedule, much like mine right now, going through each day different classes, and it could be guitar, piano, or swimming, or karate, or kung fu, and then there was Kathak, and then there was tabla, then there was harmonium. So it was just another class. And naturally what stuck were our traditional forms. That's what we traditionally, that's what we wanted. It was a calling. I felt that we had a personal connection, and knowing that that's your traditional art form, I think there was an interest there. We also went to Spanish school, so yes, and well, at that time there were many Spanish classes, so it was Argentinian Spanish school. But my mom really wanted us first to learn, so it started really young. I would say like 5, 6 years old, just taking those classes, and one at a time, gradually, and as one fell off, another one started, and eventually we made our own decision to stay. And it didn't mean that we went continuously, because we did change teachers along the way, and school did come first. But then I did start performing very young, so it was a balance.
You have traveled.
Yes.
If you were to go to a favorite place with a favorite book or favorite thing to read, favorite music, favorite drink,
oh my gosh.
where would this place be? What will you be reading? What will you be listening to? And what will you be drinking?
Oh my goodness.
Uh-huh.
Oh my goodness. You're putting me on the spot here. You're making me choose a culture, huh?
Yeah.
It depends. My taste in listening music changes like every 5 minutes.
Really?
Depends on my mood.
What mood are you in right now? What music would you like to listen to right now?
Oh my goodness.
This moment.
This moment, I don't know. It could be
What are you channeling right now?
maybe some Bob Marley.
Bob Marley.
Maybe, yeah.
Like what? Which one in particular?
Stir It Up.
All right. Let's stir it up then. Okay. I like that. The spirits are up in here tonight.
There you go. I mean, I listen to from the most religious and most spiritual music all the way up to the most, party style music, hip hop, rap. That's, I was born here. So my spectrum of music is very varied. But as far as my performing is different. Yes.
So what would you be drinking? What's your favorite drink?
I would say a virgin pina colada.
Virgin pina colada.
Yes, virgin pina colada.
And your favorite thing to read? You write.
I do write.
Yeah.
I like to read poetry, actually.
Okay.
Yeah.
You write them? You write
Yes.
them?
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Women, you've spoken about the amazing men that have influenced your dance and your singing. Tell us, if you can, about some of the women who have influenced you in your life.
My grandmother. Definitely.
On whose side?
Both of them.
Both sides, huh?
Both of them. But my mother's mom, we called her mommy. She never wanted to be called abuela because she said it made her feel old. So we called her mommy. So mommy passed away very, very young. That's, maybe in her 50s. But my grandmother, who's still alive, my dad's mom, my aji, she's definitely been like a second mom to me. And she has shown me the power of forgiveness, the power of overcoming circumstances that you cannot control, because she grew up in a time where people had to be in the rice field and, up to 9 months pregnant, make the baby and then come back the next week, and dealing with, a male society, and how to strive dealing with many kids at the time and also have pride in yourself and not feel like a victim. I think she's a master of that, of looking beyond her circumstance and also forgiving those who have oppressed her in her life. And even now, she presents herself to be a very young person. And when I mean young, I mean like a child. Like you feel like you're still talking to like a teenager. So that essence, I've really taken. Yeah, I've really taken that. And she's someone who could be a best friend. Like I can tell her anything.
Can you think, I mean, you don't have to tell us, but have there been instances in your career where you've had to channel some of her wisdom to get you through?
Yes, definitely. I think one of the components in being an artist is that you are emotionally charged. So you cannot be a stone wall. And if you are not okay emotionally, you cannot be good creatively. And in general, she has shown me how to put certain things aside and know that I will come back to it later. And so when it came down to certain things, even things out of my control, let's say a death in the family or some type of trauma, she would just, okay, well, what are you gonna do? That life, like we have to accept certain things and don't let it dictate what we're gonna do next, but let us accept it for what it is.
You mentioned Bob Marley and you channeling him. Just,
oh gosh.
You're
not gonna let that one go.
That's fine. But what I want to ask you is, what comes to mind when you think of dance?
When I think of dance?
Yes. What comes to mind right away?
God.
Wow.
That's what I think.
And singing?
Same.
God.
Soul. Your soul. And when I say God, I mean the God within you.
No, I understand. That's
within
fine.
yourself. It's not any religion. I don't feel that. I feel like the religion of expression is what we should worship. And that means worshiping your soul, what you really want to express inside, what you really want to say that you can't say with words, you can say with melody, you can say with rhythm, you could say with acting, you could say with drama, you could say with an expression, with a gesture, and of course with movement. There's so many different expressions that are non-verbal. So when I think of dance or I think of any art form, I think of really giving honor to the God that's within you.
Tell us of a time or an experience you've had when you know for a fact that this moment, this presence, this essence that is embodying you at this moment is nothing but a God experience.
Wow. I was doing a show in the Apollo Theater. And I was going through a health issue at the time. And I thought I wasn't going to make it to the show. I mean, I really thought that I couldn't. I was very weak. And so at that time, I just prayed and I prayed. And I didn't want to let the opportunity go because I knew that it was another platform to put Kathak dance in the realm of and in the eyes of people that would normally not see it. And it was the James Brown project with Otis Salid. And I really did pray and I pushed through, and I knew it on the stage that if it wasn't for that divine intervention and that entity holding my body up, I would have just...
Okay, let's take a break.